Hello and welcome to this presentation for the Sheffield SCITT, particularly aimed at mature trainees and those people looking to career change into teaching. So the Sheffield SCITT is part of the Hallam Teaching School, which is owned and operated by the Notre Dame High School in Sheffield, and we're one of the first teaching schools in the UK. All our initial teacher training, or ITT work, is designed and delivered by serving outstanding teachers, people who work in schools with children every day. So what we're going to do today is to outline what the rewards of teaching are, talk a little about the life as a teacher, and the qualities that make a great teacher. We need to talk about teaching schools and SCITTs so we understand what they are, and then look at the Sheffield SCITT's approach to ITT. We'll talk a little bit about applying in interviews and also what funding is available. So, what are the rewards of teaching? Well, as they say, don't just feel local pride, teach it. It's a really wonderful way of being able to get in and serve your community and maybe give back what you received yourself when you were at school. So the core role is to plan and teach lessons, to assess how children are progressing, and also to manage other adults in the classroom who help you, or maybe others who are there supporting the work that you do in classrooms. Then there's the pastoral role, to care for children, to keep them safe, to educate the whole child so that they develop and make progress and move on to the next stages in their lives. And another important factor is working in partnership with parents and other agencies. It's really important, this, especially with children who have barriers to their learning. The life as a teacher. You've got to remember that you're part of a team, and it's a team who delivers the school's wider role. It might be that you have duties to do before or after school, or looking after buses as they come and go, running extracurricular clubs, sports, dramas, music, or running school trips. And then there's when you have to stay late for parents' evenings and open evenings. So it is a vocation, and it's not just an 8:30 to 4:30 job. So what makes a great teacher? Well, first and foremost, having excellent subject knowledge and also pedagogical knowledge, so an understanding of how children learn and what the barriers to their learning are and how you can help overcome them. You need to be a gifted communicator. You're going to be on show teaching for many hours a day and with infectious enthusiasm to help with the engagement in your lessons. I think most important of all, you need to have a passion for all children's learning and their progress. They're all individuals, they all have individual needs, and it's so important that you can tailor your delivery to what every child in the classroom requires. You must, of course, understand the school system as well, and how good schools and good teachers operate, and how a teacher fits into being a bigger part of a bigger team. Now, we said this is based for recent or mature students or people making career changes. Now, being able to bring this subject to life is one of the best ways of improving the engagement of pupils in the lesson and therefore helping the progress that they can make. Having had other life experiences, working in relevant industries and organisations, it can bring a huge amount of colour to the lessons that you're there to provide. Being used to hitting deadlines, working in teams and providing high quality products is all part of being a teacher. I came into teaching at the age of around 42, having had a successful career in industry, and then being able to leave that and come into a situation where I can talk about what I've done in the real world really shows students, and maybe particularly those who don't have a passion for your subject, why it's really worth studying and why it's interesting to study that. Now, I know one of the worries about coming back into teaching or back into academia is about your subject knowledge, that it might have gone all rusty because you haven't used it for 5 or 10 or 20 years. But don't worry about that. Subject knowledge enhancement, or SKE courses, they're often a condition of an offer. They're led and managed in-house at the Sheffield SCITT with up to 200 hours of study in your specialist subject before you start your course. We even offer these to people who are recent graduates because it puts the curriculum into the right context for how you'll be teaching it. Remember, if you've been studying something to degree level, you've gone way beyond what a Key Stage 3 or Key Stage 4 or even A-level student will have done. So you need to put that back into focus. One of the good things about SKE, of course, is that you get paid to take part, and the payment for that is around £1,600, and they take place before you start your course in September. So what skills do you need to be able to work with children and communicate effectively and at the right level? And you need to take into account individual needs. That might be special educational needs, it might be dyslexia, it might be behavioural issues, or it might be that English is an additional language, or there might be other factors at home that you need to bring into account. Teaching, you need to be a fast learner and also a reflective learner, to look back on what you've done and understand how you might make it better, or why things did or didn't work. You're part of a team, so you'll be talking to technicians, maybe to support staff, and more importantly to your heads of department, pastoral teams and other members of your team as well, who will be able to help and perhaps put into context how you may be able to help a child who's got particular issues, or a good way of getting a point across in a lesson. You have to be really organised. You need to turn up with a set of lessons that's planned for the day, all your photocopying's done, you've got your technicians to prepare the experiment accordingly. And remember, you're there to serve others, the children, the parents, and also other colleagues in your school. So what about the rewards? Well, as a new teacher in South Yorkshire, your minimum starting salary for an NQT would be around £24,000. How do you start this? Well, applications will open in UCAS in October 2020. So as I said, it's a decent graduate starting salary of £24,000, and leadership salaries for teachers can be in excess of £80,000. Schools have more freedom nowadays to develop their own pay schemes and to try and attract and retain teachers that have the greatest impact on pupils' learnings. So what you're paid might well be linked to performance and not simply a length of service. What are the conditions? Well, generally 39 weeks of term time. Teachers do work from home in the holidays, but the amount varies, and it's very much depending on the type of teacher you are and often what subject you're teaching. I think the marking load varies massively if you're looking at English, where you're marking essays, or you're looking at subjects like maths or science, where a lot of the marking can be done individually by the by the pupils themselves. It is important, though, that you remember one of the most important things of being a good teacher is that you're fresh and you're able to deliver a good lesson. So recharging the batteries and relaxing, both in holidays and out of school time, is really important. So, what are teaching schools? Obviously, it's a different route, a different idea than a university. So what makes them unique? So teaching schools are given a role to lead the system, and they have to be Ofsted outstanding schools. And they lead alliances of different schools, including other strong schools, who act as a strategic partner to them. There'll soon be over 900 teaching schools in the country, and Sheffield has 7 of them. Now, Notre Dame was among the first 100 to be designated in 2011. As well as offering training and support for their alliance themselves, teaching schools will identify and coordinate expertise from their alliance using the best leaders and teachers. They do this to play a greater role in teaching new entrants to the profession, to lead peer-to-peer professional and leadership development. Being a teacher isn't a case of you become a teacher, that's it. There's very much a support structure and ongoing professional development. They're there to spot and nurture leadership potential and to provide support for other schools, maybe in specific subjects or with specific issues that recent assessments have flagged up. They also designate and broker specialist leaders of education, who are known as SLEs, and they engage in research and development. And indeed, Notre Dame is also now one of the UK's research schools. So what is a SCITT? So SCITT stands for School-Centred Initial Teacher Training. So a SCITT is a provider of that school-centred initial teacher training. Some teaching schools have developed ITT. So far they've been accredited in their own right to be able to award Qualified Teacher Status, or QTS. That's what you need to be able to teach in the UK. They've got their own allocation of training places directly from the NCTL, just as a university does. Now, they may partner with a university to bring in university accreditation to their courses, but they are free to work with who they want and how they want. So the Sheffield SCITT approach to ITT, well, we strongly believe the best place to train to teach is in a school, being trained by a team of outstanding serving teachers. If you're going to be a doctor or you're going to be a nurse, you work in hospitals dealing with patients. And I certainly strongly believe that's the best way of approaching teacher training. I would say that I graduated from the SCITT 5 years ago, but I firmly believe it's the best way to become a great teacher is working with outstanding practitioners. We also value master's level study delivered by universities, but that's in addition to achieving QTS, and it's assessed separately. So that's why we offer a unique for our region 100% school-based QTS course with flexible PGCE Masters accreditation that links directly into your early career development. So you'll be trained by teachers who wouldn't just tell you what to do, they would show you by doing it with the same children you teach. You'll be in classrooms with your mentor from the very outset, seeing how schools work, how to work with children in a classroom environment. So a designated mentor in each of your placements with a weekly timetabled meeting. You also have specific mentors who deal in your subject as well. So you're getting support not only from being in the classroom but also in subject knowledge as well. Now we see our SCITT trainees as really important members of our staff teams. They're not just visiting students who come and go, and they take a full part in the life of our schools, engaging with students, taking part in extracurricular activities and running and working as a teacher. Now some large providers will send you a long way as far as Huddersfield or Scunthorpe for teaching practice, but our schools are located in Sheffield, North Derbyshire, South Barnsley, Rotherham and Doncaster, so local to where the hub is. So our approach to ITT. So the training sessions delivered by outstanding teachers and facilitators. We have master's credits. Universities deliver input on the master's credits. The support from school staff as you're part of the team. And then you have social and peer-to-peer support from your fellow trainees on the hub training days that take place at Notre Dame, or some of them are starting to be delivered remotely. And fundamentally, we have a personalised approach to your training. So a bit more about the course. So you'll have a home school where you'll complete 2 teaching practices. And this course for secondary is looking purely at teaching in Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. So the gap between when they come up from primary school to the completion of their GCSE courses. You'll also have an alternate school placement, normally after Christmas, where you'll complete 1 teaching practice. You'll have a mentor just as you do at your home school at that alternative placement. But it's really good opportunity to learn about the different cultures and identities that schools have. There are also enhancement placements, and Key Stage 5 and Key Stage 2 experiences are built into the programme so that you can understand what children have been taught for when they come into you at Key Stage 3, and also an idea of how to prepare them for when they move on to A-level. The Wednesday hub sessions are based out of Notre Dame in Sheffield, and they're both remote and held in person, with pedagogical input in the morning and subject-specific input in the afternoon. And throughout the course, you're assessed against teaching standards. The teaching standards is what all teachers in the UK are measured against, so we can plot your progress against fulfilling each of those. And it is a full-time course. So why the Sheffield SCITT? Why come and train with us? Well, it's 100% school-based. You're going to get the best opportunity to be a teacher by being in schools, working with pupils every day of the week. There's a high level of NQT placements every year, and many of our graduates move on and gain employment in our placement schools. There's also a history of accelerated promotions within the schools to heads of department, assistant heads of year and teaching school positions as well. So what qualifications do you need? Well, we offer 2 routes into initial teacher training, QTS only, and then also with a PGCE, which is in partnership with Hull University. So we're the QTS provider, but we offer a PGCE through the University of Hull. If you study for QTS plus PGCE, you'll also spend about 3 days over the year with tutors from the University of Hull, with assignments set at the end of each of those few days. So which subjects do we offer? Well, maths, English, geography, history, religious education, and then the sciences, physics, chemistry and biology. But we have other partners, other schools direct partners across South Yorkshire that offer more subjects, such as PE, modern foreign languages, art, computing, design and technology, and food as well. So to apply, you apply online and search for the Sheffield SCITT. You go to ucas.com/apply/teacher-training. It's important you use your personal statement to show why you're likely to make a great teacher. Draw on work experience, but if you don't have much in schools, then what about working with youth groups or church groups or other things with young people? Have you had training or mentoring? Have you trained or mentored new people in other jobs? It is very competitive, and if you're thinking about the primary course, then that is very competitive even compared to secondary. I imagine you're here to try and give something back to where you're from. Here at Sheffield SCITT, we're looking for new teachers to help change the lives of students in South Yorkshire. So the process, once you've been invited to interview, you'll have a 10 to 15 minute lesson to deliver, just to a small group of pupils. That's not to check so much your subject knowledge, it probably isn't even in your subject that you're asked to deliver. We want to observe how you understand how children learn and how you interact with pupils. We'll then ask you to do a written reflection on that lesson. Being a reflective learner is so important, and being a reflective practitioner is so important when you're a teacher, trying to make those small improvements to each of your lessons. So we're trying to see if you've got that reflective nature already. If not, it's something we'll try in nature during your teacher training. You'll then have an interview, both with a member of the SCITT team and also with a subject specialist. And there'll also be opportunities to see what your maths and literacy knowledge is as well. So what's the best way to prepare? Well, it's so important to have work experience in schools. Remember, you're going to be spending an awful lot of hours working in school. If you find out early doors in your course that you actually don't like it, then that's going to disrupt your plans. So it's highly beneficial if you get some time, go to your local schools, offer just to observe or to read, but just spend some time working in schools to understand what they're like these days. Talk to teachers about their role and their current education policies. Just understand what does a teacher do in the day? What happens when you turn up first in the morning? How many meetings do you have and what do you cover in them? Just try to understand what goes on in a school setting. Prepared by reading educational press and blogs and Twitter. The Times Educational Supplement or TESS is very much the main publication in the UK. Things like Schools Week and Set Ed as well. Do form opinions and be prepared to share them, but also consider if your opinion suits the ethos of the system that you want to teach in. Schools do have different identities. Is the school that you've been in the type of place that you want to go and work, or do you think, after all, it might not be for me? Your letter inviting you to interview will tell you what you need to prepare and also anything that you need to bring along. If you don't understand, please make contact for clarification. We'd much rather that you speak to us and be best prepared, because we don't want interview days to be something that people are really nervous about. We have a very sensible approach to interviews, and we want you to be prepared so that you can show yourself off the very best you can. We also appreciate at stage 2 a preference from you as to which school you might prefer to be working in as your home school. Now, we can't always say that you will be in a particular school, as the numbers of schools will change each year, and also which subjects they're taking might change, but we'll always try and meet your preferences where and when we can. So after the interview, successful applicants will be informed by email and UCAS will be updated. The successful applicants will be invited to a pre-course induction event, and you'll be given opportunities to gain more experience within schools. You might also be given some pre-reading which will be beneficial to your future trainees, and we'll share that with you early on. So the funding for the course fees, the tuition fees, are £9,250, and that's paid with a student loan that you don't pay back until you're earning, and the rate you pay depends on how much you earn. Some subjects attract bursaries for you to live on for the year, especially in the sciences. Organisations like the Royal Society of Chemists, Institute of Physics are very much worth looking into for additional sponsorship and bursaries from there. There are also maintenance loans that you might be eligible to apply for. And for career changes in non-bursary subjects who have financial barriers to move into teaching, such as families and mortgages, then talk to us. You might be qualified to teach another subject with better funding. There are tax-free bursaries and scholarships. The training programme is an outstanding foundation to launch your career from. The fact that you're in school from day one ensures that you're perceived by pupils and existing staff as a regular member of the staff team, which is invaluable as you strive to build up strong professional relationships. But perhaps the greatest advantage of the course is the fact that you build up your timetable at your own pace. This ensures you're confident in taking classes and you're capable of delivering lessons which are successful. And the daily support of your subject mentor is pivotal to your subject-specific progression. In the first teaching practice, you'll be in lessons in classroom for around 12 to 15 hours. But you'll only be asked to teach in the first teaching practice between 3 and 6 hours, building to around 9 hours in your second teaching practice, and then up to 12 or 15 hours when you're close to graduating in the summer term. Here's a quote from a recent trainee from our partnership. I'll let you read that for yourself. So the Sheffield SCITT fully immerses you to the life of a teacher from day one. During my training year, my confidence in my teaching ability improved massively thanks to the support I received from mentors and leaders. That's from Kate Washbourne, an NQT teacher who trained with the Sheffield SCITT in 2018-19. Training to teach with the Sheffield SCITT enabled me to gain employment in one of the partnership schools as a confident NQT. That's from Nikita Rogers, an NQT teacher also training with us in 2018-19. And here's Becky. I trained with the Sheffield SCITT 7 years ago, and I can honestly say it was the best decision I made. The support and opportunities were incredible, and I was 100% prepared for life as a teacher. Hopefully that's been a big help to you then, particularly if you're a career changer or looking at being a more mature teacher trainee. Please keep in touch. Being a small and friendly provider, we're happy to support individuals through each stage of the journey, each stage to becoming a teacher. Our website is at www.sheffieldscitt.org.uk. We're on Twitter at Sheffield SCITT, Facebook, look us up Sheffield SCITT, and Instagram, we're Sheffield SCITT as well. And if you've got any specific queries, then please email us admin@sheffieldscitt.org.uk.